All right. Hello, YouTube. Hello, Instagram. So I'm going to be doing the same thing I did the last time I did one of these videos, trying to kind of cross post because I haven't done an Instagram live in like a really long time. I've been going live pretty much exclusively over on YouTube these days, but I do have way more followers over on Instagram. And so I kind of just wanted to like cross promote, do this whole thing. So what I'm going to be doing today is what I've been doing on YouTube for the last few years. The last year specifically, I've been doing tarot for the month ahead. Before that, I was doing it weekly, but I do think monthly is a little bit more of a vibe. And so that's what we're going to be doing today, tarot for January. So personally, I am really excited for the new year. It's going to be the year of the horse pretty soon. Pretty excited. Oh, Joanna is saying hello over on YouTube. Hello. Happy New Year. So nice to have you here. And we've got some hearts over on Instagram too. Yay. So it is a little bit easier probably to see this over on YouTube, but for all my Instagram people who are just being on Instagram, that's okay. That's okay. So let's just see what we got. I'm really curious how the energy is going to be. And I'm also curious if everyone has done their tarot for the month ahead and the year ahead for themselves. Because I know for me, doing my tarot reading for myself for the upcoming year and reflection on the year that we just had is like one of the most important parts of my spiritual practice. I'm just noticing, do I have lipstick on my teeth? Hopefully not. If I do, let me know, because I might just not notice because I'm going to be in the tarot zone. And we're also going to be pulling some oracle cards. Specifically, I chose the self-care oracle deck, so I'm going to be pulling from these as well today, just because I think a lot of folks likely go through a lot of drama and strife during the new year because they are just kind of recovering from the holiday hangover. I know not everyone has a really good relationship with their family, like a lot of people do, but a lot of people don't. And so that is where self-care oracle decks come in as we're thinking about how to kind of start the new year off well and start it off right and just start it off with some good vibes. So we're going to be doing that. Later on, I will also probably talk a little bit about my little tarot for the year ahead workshop. I'll probably just post a link in the description of the YouTube video when this is done and live so that you guys can have instant access to that masterclass workshop type of thing. If that is something that would feel helpful and supportive in your own practice, maybe you don't want to hire someone to do tarot for you and you just want to DIY it, do it yourself. Really, really great workshop masterclass for that. I taught it a year or two ago and it was like a 3-hour long, like craziness. So it pretty much is everything you need to know to pull your cards for the whole year ahead. All right, y'all. So let's see what the energy is for January 2026. And do I have lipstick? I feel like I do. All right. Yes. There we go. Teeth are good. All right, y'all. How's that for some realness to start off the year? And feel free to let me know how your year was, your first day of the new year, what your New Year's resolutions and intentions are. Would love to know. So I feel like it's really important, right? Like the new year happens once a year. Obviously, there's so many different ways and opportunities to mark the new year. I know a lot of people love to do it at the Lunar New Year or the spring equinox when we've got that happening in March. But for me, like the new year really is a beautiful time to figure out what are we going to grow into? What are our intentions for the year? I mean, hello, it's awesome. So if anyone has pulled your card for the year ahead, I would love to know what that is. Let me know. Mine is the 9 of Pentacles. So I feel like it's going to be a year of work for me. So do let me know. I'm kind of curious. Hello, Instagram. Hello, YouTube. So if I'm looking like different directions, that is what I'm doing. All right. So let's just see what we've got. Some cards for January 2026. What is the energy going to be like for this month? Let's see. Oh my God, Joanna on YouTube is saying that your tarot card for 2026 is the Star. That's amazing. That's a great card to get for the year ahead. Like, holy crap. That's awesome. And let's see, MCP Dunn, I don't know how to say that, is saying, hello, beautiful, how are you doing over Instagram? Hello, I'm doing good. How are you? But the Star is such an amazing card for the year ahead. It's amazing. My card for 2025 year ahead was the Lovers, which is very interesting. Gotta love a major arcana for the year ahead. Can't complain about that. But I am excited about the 9 of Pentacles for myself for the year ahead. Honestly, it's a nice card. It's very like earthy, financial abundance type of card. So I love that for myself. All right, so let's get rolling. What do we need to know for 2026? And also for January. Okay. These are a little bit intense. Ooh, yikes. Yeah, these are a little bit. Okay, so those are not super fun. Oop, we got a jumping card. So the jumping cards in my mind always need to be heard. They are not mistakes. The jumping card usually is a card that just needs to be heard, for better or for worse. And it jumps because otherwise we might miss it. All right, let's see what we got here. A lot of reversals and, okay, there we go. Finally, this is turning around. So collectively, our card for 2026, not everyone's probably going to like this, but actually, no, these are cute. So collectively, these are the cards for the year ahead. Let's see, Instagram can't really see these. We got the Hermit and the Knight of Cups. I'm going to show y'all over here. Okay, YouTube. We got the Hermit and the Knight of Cups for our overall kind of collective energy vibe reading for 2026. So first of all, I love that these are both upright. To me, that shows that the 2026 energy is going to be flowing. It's not going to be blocked. So personally, I really do love that. You'll notice that both of these figures are holding some kind of object that is leading them forward. It's like an object that they are pushing in front of them to kind of guide them, light their way, kind of express their intentions as they are moving forward. And so we've got this lovely, speaking of the star, we've got a star in the Hermit's lamp, which I really love. And then the little cup that is being held by the Knight of Cups. So what can we take from this as cards of the year for the general collective? So the Hermit, in my mind, it's not a bad card at all. It's not necessarily about loneliness either. Like in my mind, the Hermit is all about like making sure that we are being guided specifically by our own light and our own vision, as opposed to someone else's light and someone else's vision. I'll show everyone on Instagram really quick. And so with this card, I think a lot of people do misinterpret it as just being about like spending time alone. And like, obviously that is a big part of it. Like, duh, it's the Hermit. But at the same time, like this is a Virgo card, right? And so I'm a Virgo rising. And so Virgo is an earth sign. It's very organized, very methodical, very kind of like make your lists, make your plans. And so for this year, I do think planning and structure is going to be a big deal. And specifically planning and structure that comes from within, rather than is imposed on us by the external. And so I think for this year, it's going to be really important that we kind of cut out the white noise of what other people want us to be and want us to do. It's going to be really important for us to listen to our own internal voice for 2026, because that is what is going to guide us forward and lead us forward. And if we allow ourselves to be clouded by like the noise from other people, we are likely going to stray like a bit off our path in a way that like does not serve us. And obviously going off our path that generally doesn't serve us, though sometimes those detours can bring important lessons that can be really fantastic and just crucial in our growth journey. That can be important. So there can be a reason for that kind of comes out at the end of the day. That being said, since this is an upright Hermit, like I do think it is going to be really important for us to be very clear in our intention. You'll notice his wand is like boom, straight up and down. It's not like flippy floppy, wishy-washy. Like he is very intentional in terms of where is his energy going. And so in contrast, let's say spending all of 2026 alone, I actually think this card is about making sure that our priorities are set and that we're acting in accordance with what our priorities are. And so that might mean like partying less. It might mean going out less. It might mean socializing less. It might mean really getting your nose down to the grindstone and making sure that you are getting what you need to get done in service of your spark, in service of yourself, in service of your growth and your own process on your inner journey. This card is very much about that inner journey, going inwards, the healing work that happens when we go inwards. And like, I do think external guidance can be really beautiful and important and beneficial and like full of healing, and all of that can be massively important. I know external guides have helped me a lot on my journey. That being said, I do think for 2026, it is going to be really crucial to be like, okay, what does my own inner voice and my own inner guidance share with me and guide me to do, say, be, act, etc. Super, super important stuff. Really, really beautiful card. I'll show you guys over on Instagram. Always kind of confuses me that YouTube like mirrors everything. But anyway, Hermit. Being super intentional in how we're spending our energy and not being afraid to say no to what isn't in alignment. Like if you are in a space this year where you feel kind of confused about what you should be doing, the answer to that is going to be spending some time by yourself to really get clear and get intentional about where you're at, what you want to be spending your time doing, and what internal light you're allowing to kind of guide you forward. It's going to be super important. So I love that as kind of card for the year. And our second card of the year for 2026 for all of us is Collective. Knight of Cups. Love this card. Definitely not a bad one. Knights do tend to be about movement, momentum, movement forward. And I love this especially since 2026 is the year of the horse. I think it's a fire horse, so don't quote me on that. And so Knights are, again, movement, momentum, propulsion. We're moving from point A to point B. And so horse, to me, it's a very like yang energy as it is because it's so movement oriented. And so Knights to me also are yang energy, like very kind of masculine, moving forward, taking initiative, doing stuff, making sure that we are actually taking action rather than just thinking about taking action. And since it's the Knight of Cups, this should be a year where we are taking action in a way that is inspired by our emotional landscape. So it doesn't necessarily have to be action that is like rational or led with the mind. It should be action that is led with our heart and with our emotions, whatever that kind of happens to be for us at this point. And you'll notice that the horse and the rider are pretty much on the same page, right? Like there's some nights for him that's not true, and I'll show you guys one of those in just a moment. But they're pretty much on the same page. No one is fighting anyone, which is very much in contrast to another night, which I'm going to show you guys shortly. So for this year, notice what feels aligned. Notice what movements feel aligned as you're moving forward on your path, on your journey to do whatever the hell it is you want to be doing in this life and this year. It should feel good emotionally. It should feel good in your body, the movements that you're taking. And if it doesn't, pay attention to that because it's a sign that you're probably off course. And we need some hermit time to figure out where it is we need to be going, how we need to be doing that. Really, really, really important. I would say it's an interesting year energetically. I honestly feel really, really good about it. And it's a 1 year numerologically because 2026 reduces to 1, 2025 reduced to 9. So the 9 years, so it's like endings, shedding of skin, which makes sense, especially with the snake. And so, I don't know, I feel like the year of the horse is going to be vibes. And I feel like a lot of us, if we've done our internal work, are really going to be able to kind of just hit the ground running because all of that skin has been shed in 2025, and we'll be able to kind of just catapult ourselves forward into what it is we want to do next. However, is it all going to be super easy breezy, smooth sailing forever? Like, not necessarily. So starting off with January 2026, these cards are a little bit spicy. So let us start off with the other night that I got for this. Very interesting, Knight of Swords. So even though our night for 2026 overall is the Knight of Cups, very aligned, very mind-body connected, on the same page, what we see in this card, the Knight of Swords, the horse is a little bit unsure of what we're doing. And I'll show Instagram this too. You'll notice the horse is pretty freaked out. Does not look super stoked on what is going on. Looks maybe a little bit stressed, which is in contrast to the rider who is like gung-ho, like, let's make this happen immediately. And so we see this kind of disconnect here between mind and body that we see kind of embodied in this card, right? So with this coming up for January, what the message I'm taking from this is that in January, we really do need to kind of hit the ground running and act before we feel ready to act. Make some big moves in our behaviors before we kind of feel ready to do so intellectually and in our mind. I think my message that I'm kind of getting with this card is like there's never like the right or perfect time. It's like you're never really going to feel ready. So just stop waiting and begin the things that you want to do, whether that is going to the gym or whether that is starting a business, whether that is, in my case, it's like showing up and doing more live streams and doing more filming on the internet and stuff like that. So today, this is me kind of trying to embody this energy and doing something even when I'm not necessarily in the mood to do it. Maybe I would rather like sit in bed with another coffee and just like lounge in the bath. But we are getting down to work. We are doing stuff. We are showing up. And that is what January energy is going to be about. Really get this year off to a good start by getting this month off to a good start. And like, there's no blockages right now to this momentum going well for us, right? This Knight of Swords is not reversed. And so ideally, we want to be acting on this energy, moving with this energy, working with it as the wind in our sails to kind of catapult us at lightning speed to get us started with all of our intentions and resolutions on our to-do list for this year. There is no reason to have a slow, chill start to the new year. We might as well hit the ground running and put all of our energy into what we say our intentions are. Because planning is cute, but are you executing? Are you taking inspired action? January, we need to take inspired action in order to get this year off to a good start. That is a really, really clear message. So next up, 5 of Cups reversed. January is also really important to let the past be the past. Let bygones be bygones with this 5 of Cups upright. And so some of us might feel like we still have some mourning to do for some things that happened in 2025. Obviously, with 2025 being a 9 year and a snake year, we're shedding the skin, we're getting rid of it, we're releasing, we're shaking stuff off. Super important. And so we might not have finished all of the mourning that we probably could have done, should have done in 2025. So there could be a little trickle of that still happening in January 2025. And so what I want us to kind of all do energetically is just take some time to mourn that stuff. That's okay. Just admit whatever you haven't mourned yet. It's all right to spend some time crying over it. You know, journal about it, be sad, go to like a rage room. I told a client to do that a few days ago to process something. And so there's no shame in that. Like whatever you need to do to kind of shake that residue out of your system, like shed that final like dead skin, whether that is going to a rage room, crying at your therapist about it, journaling about it, doing a ritual to do a cord cutting or some kind of banishment or release ceremony, whatever it is that you need to do to just get those emotions out of yourself. They're not going to serve you as you're moving forward into 2026. And so let yourself mourn, give yourself this month to shake off whatever these kind of lingering emotions happen to be. Because we all probably have some of them, probably myself included, because this card is coming up. And so make sure that you're mourning it appropriately. Don't mourn it too much, just mourn it the right amount. And remember, right, this card does have 2 upright cups in the background. So then we still do have a lot to be grateful for. We've got a lot to be thankful for. 2 of Cups does tend to be romance, partnership, and this can also be like a close friendship. What connections do you still have that are really positive that can kind of help you move through this mourning in a positive way, right? Because yeah, we do have some stuff to mourn from 2025, absolutely, but all hope is not lost. We still have these 2 upright cups. And so whenever it is that you're done with your mourning process for 2025, make sure that you're moving your attention to these upright 2 of Cups because they are there. Make sure that you see them and acknowledge them and appreciate them. Okay, pretty important. All right, so next up we got some reversals. So another card for January 2026, 5 of Wands reversed. I'm going to show Instagram. 5 of Wands reversed. There we go. And so with this card, it's interesting, right? 5 of Wands is kind of like a fights card, but it's also like a kind of pointless fights card. And so this month, we need to be really aware of where energy is being directed. Are we spending time on useless, dumb battles that are draining our energy and getting us nowhere? And so this can be like arguing on the internet. It can be like having the exact same argument with your parents a million times. It can be bitching about your annoying coworkers. It can be, you know, an argument with your best friend who secretly is like a hater. Like this can kind of show up in a lot of different ways. And so it's going to be really important for January 2026 to, I would say, disengage. We got a reversal. These battles, these fights are not helping us. They're not serving us. And so I think it's going to be important just to like shake this fighting off, whatever the hell this is for you. Notice what is the energy vampire in your life, because wands is what? Fire, life force energy. Our motivation, our drive, our zest for life, our passion. What is draining your passion in life? We want to get rid of that, and we want to notice that. And obviously not everything is going to be something that we'll be able to release. Like maybe this is your boss, and obviously you're not in a position to quit your job perhaps. So like, it's not like I'm saying like make a rash decision. That's not what I'm saying. It's more just like pick your battles and control where your energy goes. Control and be aware of the ways in which your energy is like leaked into things that don't serve you, that are just a waste of your time and all of that. Be really aware of your energy leaks. I would say be really decisive about where your energy is going this month, because that is going to set the stage for the entire year. And so we really don't want to waste our fire energy. We really don't want to do that. Like we can do that. A lot of people spend their whole life doing that, but ideally that's not really what we want to be doing. So next up, oops, the Tower. Show Instagram. So this is a tough card, as we all know. The Tower is a paradigm shift card. It's a really difficult card. I'll show you guys right side up. Tower, show Instagram, the Tower. And so this card, I do love this card, but it's not an easy one. This card often comes when, like, literally we have been, like, our village has been burned to the ground, and we are there to pick up the pieces and figure out, okay, what am I doing next with my life? Like, where have I fucked up? What has changed? Like this card can happen like when we're moving, when we've got a divorce, when we're switching jobs, when we're switching our entire career direction, our entire life direction. This can come up when a family member dies or something like that, or just some drastic stuff has happened that has really shaken up our foundations, which is why we see this lightning. And that is actually one of the original names for this card, the lightning, obviously, not in English. But since this is reversed, my message for this for January 2026 is make sure that whatever this is, whatever this shakeup, this external shakeup that is acting upon us, make sure that you are not resisting it. The reversal tends to indicate a resistance. And so one example I often will use, if any of my clients like have tattoos, obviously I have like 1 million tattoos. Whenever you're getting tattooed, it obviously hurts like so bad. But if you're clenching, like you're clenching your muscles, you're like trying to get through it, it's actually going to hurt so much more. And it's just going to be a worse experience. But if you can just like exhale, release, and breathe through that experience of being tattooed, it's going to go a lot better. It's going to go a lot faster. The tattoo is going to just be easier, breezier. And I would say the Tower vibe, when it's reverse versus upright, is kind of the same thing. So whatever is shaking up your world right now, maybe there's still some kind of shakeup that is lingering from 2025. Again, whether that was financial difficulty, death in the family, just some kind of big stuff that was an external force upon us, whatever that happens to be for you. If that still is kind of shaking up your reality, it is okay to just like release into it, exhale into it, accept it. You resisting it is not going to change anything. It's not going to help your circumstances at all. It's not going to make anything go better at all. It will just kind of make things worse, really. And it will take longer for this kind of shakeup to settle the more you are resisting this energy. So we're going to want to let the rubble fall where it may. All right, for January 2026. And it's interesting because what I see here is this fascinating combination of shakeup, rubble, loss. Where are we putting our energy? These are all kind of intense, right? But despite this hardship that these three cards are kind of hinting at, this card is like, we got to keep it moving anyway. We got to keep the momentum going. And the way to heal and process and work through the lingering bits of last year, and also our vision and goals for this year, is to act before we feel ready, and to process via acting, and to take inspired, intentional action rather than to sit at home and cry. We're going to want to keep it moving. There is healing in the movement. That is a big message with these cards all together. There is healing in the movement. The way through all of this is not stagnation. It's not stillness. There are times when it's stillness, but that is not the case right now for January 2026. That is not what I'm seeing. Okay. So next up, how do we deal with all of this? I've got some cards, as we do. And most of them are reversed. So I do feel like there is going to be a lot of resistance energy for many of us in this first month of the year. And I think that's very normal, right? Like it still is the kind of tail end of the year of the snake. I don't think it actually switches to the horse until early February, though I could be completely wrong. But since the full moon for January is, I think, on tomorrow, so that's the January 3rd. So the full moon for February should be like early February at some point. And so it does make sense that this month we still are kind of shaking off that snake energy. We are shedding off like that last little bit of dead skin. And so it does make sense to me that a bunch of these are reversed to kind of set the stage. But the important thing to remember is to keep it moving. That is going to be what will help us work through what we've been going through. Okay. So first up, actually, I'm going to talk about these two together, actually. We've got two different queens that are reversed. The Queen of Cups and the Queen of Swords. So I'll show YouTube, reverse Queen of Cups, reverse Queen of Swords, show Instagram. What's going on? And so what I find really interesting about this is in this reading, so we've got two knights, two queens, and then soon I'm also going to be talking about a page. And so we have all of these different court cards. So what does that tell us? So for me, what that indicates is for January 2026, a big part of the energy flow is about the person that we are becoming. It is about our way of being, right? Because the court cards do reveal these different facets of our personality, of our persona, of our growth. There's going to be some areas of life where we're the king, some areas of life where we're the queen, some areas of life where we're a knight, and some areas of life where we're a page, we're a little newbie who is super fresh and doesn't really know what's going on. There's going to be other areas of life where we're an expert that knows a lot about something. And so I think it is going to be a really interesting month to juggle and kind of come to terms with all of these different parts of ourselves, all of these different areas of expertise, and also areas of ignorance and areas where we need to actually learn a lot more. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing to be shamed about with that. It's completely normal. And this is a great time to kind of suss that out, figure that out, sit with it, and learn more about ourselves in this moment. So, okay, what the fuck does this mean? Queen of Cups reversed, Queen of Swords reversed. So we've got this balance between emotions and intellect. And so I think it is going to be really important to make sure that we're not acting due to emotional immaturity or emotional manipulation. We want to be more in control of our emotions. We might feel a little bit pulled into some emotional turmoil this month. And I think it's going to be really, really important for us to emotionally check ourselves before we wreck ourselves and make sure that we have some kind of emotional stability and emotional sobriety this month as we're kind of working through a lot of this residue of 2025. Otherwise, it's going to be really important for us not to ignore our boundaries. The Queen of Swords is a boundaries card. I've had some students refer to this as the bitch card. But in my mind, it's very much about boundaries, the difference between me and you. And that is something that happens when we have boundaries, when there is a space, when there is a line in the sand. And in the service of our growth, it's going to be really important not to avoid the work of putting the line in the sand, of having the boundary, whatever that happens to be, of expressing a no, of being clear in our communication. I think when this card comes up reversed, it's especially important to just take stock of how do we communicate and how do we communicate our boundaries? How do we express ourselves when someone else is something we find offensive or hurtful or just rubs us the wrong way or that perhaps we've misunderstood? Right? So how can we get to this upright Queen of Swords? Be really clear in our communication, be really boundaried. And I think for this month, it's going to be really important to kind of keep our individuation. You'll notice that a lot of these cards are one person. Not all of them, but most of these cards so far for January 2026, one person. And so keeping connected to self is going to be crucial as we begin the vibe of this year and kind of take these first steps to be this next best version of ourself on this fun journey of this beautiful thing called life. Very interesting. I kind of love that. Next up, Eight of Pentacles reversed. Let's not avoid hard work this month. Is an interesting one. Eight of Pentacles, getting shit done, showing up day after day after day, doing the boring stuff that we probably don't really want to do, but we're going to do it. So don't avoid that, right? This card showed up reversed. And so I think many of us are probably wanting our vacation or holiday vacation to last for like another week or two. So we are going to want to make sure that we are pedaling to the metal and we are working. Okay, and I'm just noticing someone is on Instagram saying something. Let's see. Livy and Rose for Brianna says, hi, Sabrina. Happy to catch you on a live for the first time. Oh my God. Yay. Hello. So nice to see you on here. Yeah, I almost never go live on Instagram anymore, which is probably bad. I mostly am going live over on YouTube. I know it's not good, but I'm trying to now do some streams on both just to kind of bring cross-pollinate, like bring my YouTube people to Instagram and my Instagram people over to YouTube. A lot of stuff going on. But yeah, I used to live stream on Instagram fucking all the time. So we're trying to fix that. And so interesting you say that, because this is my own personal interpretation of this card for myself for this month. Showing the fuck up. And I want to do video or either filming videos or live streaming 5 days a week. So I'll either be live streaming somewhere 5 days a week, or I will be filming that will then be posted later 5 days a week. And so that is how I'm going to be interpreting this card for myself in January 2026. How are y'all going to interpret it for yourself? And again, remember, this card showed up reversed. So there is going to be some resistance. And this morning I was like, I don't want to put on makeup and stream. I want to be cozy in my bed and do my astrology for 2026 and like match that up with my tarot cards. I just want to be like internal and reflective. But it's like, no, I was like, I can do that later. I can do both today. I don't have to pick one. And that means like showing the fuck up. Even when we might be tired, and doesn't mean I don't love connecting with you guys. Obviously I do want to be here. I love doing this, but also some days I am a lazy bum, just like I'm sure many of y'all are also lazy bums. And so this card is like, don't be a lazy bum, because the energy of this month is keep it moving. So the inspired action that we take this month is really going to do a lot more for our growth and pushing us forward in life than, let's say, it would otherwise, because we've got all this wind in our sails, all this energy flowing that we just have to express in whatever way that's going to manifest for you in your own life. So I think it is going to hit everyone a little bit differently depending on what's going on for you. So we've also got Page of Pentacles upright as a card for this month. And so I do think this is a really beautiful card in terms of learning about finances, financial planning. Do you need to learn about investments? Do you need to learn about accounting? What do you need to do this month in order to stay on top of your finances and your spending? It could be so many different things. Things are really going to hit different for everyone. Oh, hello, Drew. Over on Instagram. Love to see you. Yay. Let's see. Brianna is saying, I can relate, looking for a career pivot. I'm feeling that I'm inspired mentally, but also feeling like trusting the process and sitting back. Yeah. Interesting that you say that, Brianna, because we've got this card, which I don't know if you missed it earlier, but this is very much like, this is probably your body being like, I don't know, I just want to chill. This is also my body being like, I just want to chill. And then the mind is like, no, like we've got to take control of the situation and act and really work with this energy and push it forward. Because I really do think that, like, for whatever reason, this month is really good for just pushing that energy forward with whatever output we can be bothered to execute. I do think it's going to go well for us, those of us who do put the pedal to the metal and do this, do the boring work, showing up every day, even when we don't want to, writing every day, even when we're not inspired to do so. You know, doing whatever that happens to be in your life or your business or whatever. This can even just be like tidying up a little bit every day, or I don't know, whatever that is for you in your own life. It's interesting. And so we also want to make sure, like I said before, we want to keep on top of our finances for January. That could be, again, financial planning, investment planning. It could be doing a financial audit. It can be, I don't know, like relocating because it's cheaper to live somewhere else. And like, we don't really need to live where we live. It can be things like this. Be a student of your finances. Get curious about it. That's very much the vibe of this card. And the energy for this is not blocked at all. So it's a really, really good time to just be focusing on our energy on what our money looks like right now. Be a student of that. Let the numbers lead you. take stock of your resources, get curious, pick apart any like bad financial habits that you just need to, you know, fix up a little bit. So I love all of those cards for this month. Let me just check on. I've been going for like 35 minutes. Yeah, do we have any questions about any of those cards? I feel like those are all pretty nice. Those are all pretty nice. So I'm also going to pull some oracle cards from the self-care decks. Take some water. But before we do that, I'm actually going to pull just a few more cards for like what to do and what to not do this month. Just for fun. Let's see. Alan Stig on YouTube says Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too. Yeah, I'm so excited. I love the new year. I love like putting up all my new calendars. Like I'm a big calendar person. So I have like 4 calendars up right now and I've got 1 calendar coming in the mail. Pretty stoked. So okay, let's see what to do, what to not do. This is interesting. These are both pretty good cards, both reversed. What to do. Strength reversed. It's interesting. This card is very much about self-control. Oh, on Instagram, Kelly Town Official is saying, hey girl, I love your content. Oh, thank you. That's so nice. I feel like I don't post on Instagram as much as I should be. I feel like I don't post on Instagram as much as I used to, but I feel like that's one of my goals for 2026 is to post more things everywhere and to also live stream way more than I have in the past few years. I don't know what it is. I feel like the last few years for me have been very like yin energy years in terms of my output, even though I released 2 books last year. So maybe that doesn't really make sense. I just said that. But even though I released 2 books last year, I feel like I've been in a very chill vibe, yin energy the last few years. So I'm really excited. Hold on, I'm going to try to turn up the brightness on my laptop. I feel like it's getting a little bit dark. You made me really happy saying that. There we go. There we go. Okay. We are now bright again over on YouTube. Stig is saying, can I read the future in the cards? What do you think we're doing here, my friend? You already know this answer to this question. But thank you, Kelly, on Instagram. I love you. You're the best. It's very nice to hear that because it makes me want to do more of these little live streams. If people are finding value out of it, it always makes me happy. So anyway, let's get back to these before we get to the oracle cards for today and for this month. So what to be doing? Strength reversed. So it's a major arcana. So have the big picture in mind. We want to be obviously aware of all those little minor arcana cards, but we want to keep it in the framework and the understanding of it as one part of a larger whole. Keep your eye on the prize, and little day-to-day annoyances become less annoying. Strength is also very much about self-control, so let's make sure that we are not allowing that kind of animalistic, feral side of us to rule our decision-making process. We want to make sure that we are grounded and we're making decisions based on what is in our best interest and also what is growth-oriented for us, rather than just what we feel like doing. Because sometimes what we feel like doing is like not what we should be doing. So we want to make sure that we're self-controlling, making intentional decisions, and we are responding rather than just reacting. That's going to be really important for us this month. And what are we not doing? We are not going to be complacent and smug. I love this card, but in terms of what not to do, we are not going to act like we are already done and we're on top of the world and we have nothing else to conquer or achieve or to execute. I think it's really important for us to give ourselves props, give ourselves a pat on the back, and appreciate everything we've been able to do and accomplish. I think that's really important. At the same time, don't let that be something that holds you back from actually continuing to create and produce and push your life forward. I think that is really important. And let's see, Brianna is saying, you're tired, you need help. But yes, yeah, I can relate. I'm also tired. But I think often, we can do a lot more than we think we can do. And in like 6 months, we are not going to remember how tired we were today. Like in 6 months, I am not going to remember that today on January 2nd, I like wanted to go back to bed and just like go take a nap. I'm going to be actually really glad that I put on my makeup and I showed up on the internet. You know what I mean? And so it's one of those things where it's going to be really important for us to push through those kind of feelings of tiredness, those feelings of like, I don't want to do it. You know what I mean? These feelings of like, I've already done enough. And it's like, the answer is going to be like, no, you haven't. None of us have. There's always more to do. There's always more to achieve. And I know that sounds maybe a bit weird, but I really don't believe in just leaning back and doing nothing. Like, this life is so beautiful. Why not work with this energy of this month to help push us forward to that next beautiful, bright thing, whatever that is for you in your own life context? So let's not get complacent in January. Let's not let the vacation last all month, okay? Like, rest, obviously. We need to be rested in order to execute well and do it as we need to do. It's really important. But we also need to make sure that we are always having our eye on the prize and to know that we are not done. We still have more to be doing. There's probably still more that you want to do. And so I think sometimes the self-care discourse online gets like a little bit weird, where people are like, treat yourself. Self-care is like having a 5-hour bath and ignoring all your emails. And it's like, don't get me wrong, I also love having a 5-hour bath and ignoring all my emails. Like, I do that sometimes. However, self-care is also showing up to work. Self-care is also like sending the marketing email. Self-care is also doing the live stream. Self-care is also, doing whatever kind of mundane life stuff that we might not want to do, that might not be like a sexy, fun thing to do. But that is also a really important part of this process of showing up and doing the hard thing, even when we're tired, even when we like just want to go back to bed, honestly. But I think a big part of these cards together in terms of what to do and what not to do for this month is like, it is also self-care to honor our word to ourselves. And whatever commitments you're making to yourself about, let's say, your New Year's resolutions, your intentions. In my case, it's like filming or live streaming 5 days a week, at least for this month, and just to see how that goes. Like, I'm going to have to show up even when I don't want to, because I told myself I was going to. And so for you, what is that in your life? Whether that is going to the gym, whether that's eating salad every day, whether that is eating a fruit every day, whatever that happens to be, whether it's waking up at a certain time, whether it's, it could be so many different things. But self-care is also honoring our word and our commitment to ourselves. It's not just like abdicating ourselves of responsibility. So I think that's a really important thing to keep in mind with these two cards in terms of what to do and what not to do for January 2026. So honestly, I think these cards are all pretty interesting and fun. I think they tell a pretty clear story. And I am jazzed about that. If anyone has any questions about those cards, let me know, because now I do feel called to just do some oracle cards. So I've got 2 decks I'm going to be pulling from today in terms of the self-care box. These are both pretty different. So I'll show YouTube first. So Sacred Self-Care Oracle, Self-Care Wisdom cards, I'll show y'all over on Instagram. I do love these decks. I've had them for quite a long time, and like, they always do bring me joy. And I did pull some for myself during a New Year's Eve ritual. So there's a few that are missing, but I think we're going to get the message that we need to get. All right, so let's see what we got. So from this deck, what self-care message do we need from this deck right now I'm going to do for 2026 overall, and then also for just January. Let's see. Ooh. Okay, these are fun. Okay, so for 2026 overall, this is so hilarious, and I apologize to anyone who is watching this who is a man, but like, please just like change the language to apply to yourself. So I'll show YouTube first. It says power, and then the image says good girl with like a cross out. So for 2026, no more good girl. It is power is the vibe. And then on the back of the card, it says the ability to suck it up is not a superpower. saying no is. Own your power. I'll show you guys the back so you can see I'm not making this up. And so 2026 is all about boundaries, being able to own our own power, not being a people pleaser, honoring ourselves, and operating from a space of personal and individual sovereignty. Because if we're just a yes person and we just say yes all the time when we really want to say no, I think there's sometimes when that's important and necessary to do, but I think sometimes people can also do that too much. So we want to be operating from a space of personal sovereignty and integrity and say yes when we mean yes and say no when we mean no. And that is going to be in service of our life in 2026. Like, I actually think this is a really fun card. So it's like boundaries, personal power, feeling empowered to say yes and no in an authentic way with people in our lives. And I find that the people who are worth keeping around are the ones who are okay with our yes and our no whenever that happens to be the case, because people who care about us ideally want us to be honest in how we really feel rather than like lying in order to keep the peace, right? So I actually really love that as a 2026 card. And then for just January, we've got Beauty, which has this lady on a beach. How cute. And it says, today you are a curator of beauty. You are blessed with moments that let you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that all is well in the world. And I'll show you guys so you can see I am not making this up. I guess on Instagram it's reversed, but on YouTube you can actually read it how it is. It always kind of trips me out how it, like, YouTube like reverses it, but I guess YouTube is like more accurate. So okay, next up we're going to be pulling from this deck. Let's see. And this one is more like actionable. Like, I find that deck that I just pulled from is more like vibes and just things to kind of think about, meditate on. But this deck is more like, do this thing now. So that's kind of why I like reading with both of them. Oh, Melissa on YouTube says, good afternoon, Happy New Year, everyone. Yay, Happy New Year, Melissa. So nice to have you here. Always nice to see you up in this space. All right, let's see. So what else do we need to know in terms of self-care stuff? And sorry, Melissa, you're catching us just at the tail end. But I'll sit around and chill for a bit if anyone wants to chat about whatever. So, okay, self-care stuff for 2026 overall. Let's pull for that, and then also for this month. Let's see what comes up. Oh. Okay. So for 2026, our self-care health checkup. I'll show Instagram. Health checkup. Go to the doctor. So everyone needs to go to the doctor. That is your self-care instructions for 2026, which is important. You know, like, a lot of people will neglect their health for whatever series of reasons. And so we want to go to the doctor. It's important. And for this month, we want to be hydrating, drinking our water. And so I'm actually going to pull more because let's have more self-care homework. So for 2026, our second self-care homework is take a walk. It's like a nature walk. I love that. I love a good nature walk. Melissa says, allow me turning in for this card is true irony. Which one? The health checkup or the hydrate? Or the walk? I don't know. I think walking is definitely an amazing self-care activity, especially in outdoors. Like, I can walk on a treadmill, but like, let's be real. It's way more fun to just go on a walk outside. It's nice. Melissa says health checkup. Yeah, do it. Book a doctor's appointment. It's not that hard. And I think some people are afraid of doctor's appointments because it's like, we don't know what we're going to find out. So it can be spooky and like, oh no, am I going to get diagnosed with something scary? And it's like, that's a totally fair fear. But it's like, it's important. It's important. So do it. And okay, but I know, Melissa, you're in Quebec, right? And I think the healthcare system in Quebec is like a complete mess from what I know. Unless I'm making that up. All right, so our next self-care card for this month. Flow like water. show Instagram first. So like water. And I think it's really interesting that both of our self-care cards for January are kind of water related. And so that brings us to some of the cups cards, like the emotion cards that we pulled earlier. So water themes around self-care for January. And then for the overall year, I'll check out, take a walk. Melissa says, you're not making it up as pure chaos. It does not make it enticing at all. Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. Which really sucks, because honestly, I think everyone should get good health care in this country. But alas, apparently that is like not a thing. Pretty annoying. But yeah, do it when you can because it came up. And so, I don't know. I just feel like health checkups is important because if you do catch something, then hopefully you're catching it before it's like a big deal of a problem. You know what I mean? Because I think a lot of times people neglect it and then it shows up like too late and there's not as much options to get care. You know what I mean? So yeah. That's what I mean before too about like the importance of doing this kind of like mundane stuff as like self-care, you know, like having the discipline to do the stuff that you don't really want to do that is beneficial to you at the end of the day. Melissa's saying, LOL, I must gotta get some surgery and being put under is just worse. Oh my God, what surgery are you getting? You know, I felt like that when I got my tonsils out. I put off that surgery for like 10 years. And I'm glad I finally did it. It was like one of the most painful things I've ever experienced. Like the recovery process was a nightmare. But I'm so grateful that I got it done. And like my quality of life in terms of my health is like so much better, even though I was sick for a month back in November. But in general, like it's improved so much. Yeah, that stuff can really suck, but it's important to do. It's important to do. And I feel like some medical stuff, it feels so medieval. Like, you know, I got a colposcopy a few months ago, and it was like, I know, like pretty much a month ago, almost to the day, December 1st, I got a colposcopy, and it felt like I was in some kind of medieval situation. So it's like some medical stuff, it does feel like, how are we still doing it in this very DIY way? So I get it. It's not pleasant. And like a lot of doctors leave something to be desired in terms of bedside manner and like how they're treating you and treating you like a little object, which I don't love. So I totally get it, but we just gotta do it. We just gotta do it. It's important. Let's see. Brianna on Instagram is saying, I work in healthcare and looking to leave since saying no and people pleasing is impossible. I love helping others. I found it funny that those cards came out back to back. Oh my God. That is actually so appropriate for your situation, Brianna. That's so interesting. And so I feel like the vibes are like, you need to be here to hear the message. Because that actually is very on point with what you just shared. Praying for an aligned change. And so, Brianna, one thing you can take from the cards for this month as well, and I don't know when you logged on, but if you missed the beginning, part of the message of the cards for this month is it's not just about praying for the change. It's about doing the change and taking control of your situation and being the change. And this month, I guess you'll see if you watch the replay, if you missed the beginning, and the replay will be both on Instagram and on YouTube. And if you can't find it, like just send me a DM and I'll send you the link whenever this is done. Like a big part of the energy for this month, like really is taking action before we feel like we're ready to do so. And it's like that in your case would probably, and again, don't quote me on this, I would need to pull cards like on your exact situation to really give exact advice for you. But based on the energy of the cards for everybody, like the Knight of Swords came up and it's very much like do the thing. Act before you feel ready. Leave before you feel ready. Make the inspired, aligned choice. Because right now the energy for January is like the wind is in your sails to like do the thing. That's the vibe, which I really love. And I think it's really good too, Brianna, that you're aware of like, what is your situation? Like, how do you feel about all that stuff? And I think that is honestly like the first step to any of this, is having that awareness that something isn't working and needs to change, and then being like, okay, what is that thing that I need to change? And we also got the 8 of Pentacles, which is like, what inspired, boring action do you need to take every day in order to enable that wind to really pick up behind your sails, if that makes sense. Now, let's see. Melissa over on YouTube is saying, you have nose polyps. I don't even know. I don't even heard of that. I'm going to Google that later. It makes breathing through nostrils really bad. You get sinusitis and migraines very easily. It's fixable, but the whole surgery is terrifying. That sounds terrifying, especially when it's like your face. It's kind of funny, when I started looking at this health situation, found out it's a lot more common. I thought people get the surgery all the time. Yeah, it's funny. And I don't know how long or intense the surgery is, but I know when I got my tonsils out, the surgery was literally like a 15-minute surgery that she did like 20 times a day or something insane like that. And obviously the recovery like was so bad, horrible. I did it and I survived, and that's great. But I could have bled out. Like, it's kind of crazy. But yeah, it's funny like how routine a lot of this stuff is, and it's just the recovery that can really be worse than the surgery itself. Like, as long as we're kind of prepared and like, you know, create the correct environment for a healing and the success of the surgery. Like, when I got my tonsils out, I had this like a little mini like humidifier on my bedside table that I was like putting my face into, basically, to like keep it moist so I wouldn't have like a scab that would then bleed out and then I would hemorrhage and die. So I didn't die, so it's good. I did the things. But yeah. And Melissa too, it's like you can do magic and intention work around that, around the surgery. Like, I've done that around all of mine. And I do think that made a massive difference in terms of like having an easy breezy recovery. And I talk about that in one of my classes, which you may or may not have been to or have, I don't know. It's like planning surgery and like magic around surgery and stuff like that. So yeah, you can actually magic it up as well to kind of make that process like a lot better and a lot easier. And Brianna on Instagram sending a heart. Thank you, Brianna. I'm sending a heart right back. Yay. Melissa's saying recovery isn't that extensive. Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, and it is always like, it's tough to do that stuff, but I do think that I wish more people in the kind of like wellness, self-care space talked more about the basics of all of this, if that makes sense. Because it is crazy how much like some exercise, good sleep, good healthy food, like how much that really does to kind of help us feel put together. Like, it's very interesting. It's just the basics that has been the same since the beginning of time, basically. Biological. And taking care of the physical body. And I do think sometimes the physical body, when there's an issue, it's like there's a spiritual cleansing with that too. I think sometimes, but not all the time. I'm sure there was something going on with me with that when I was sick during Mercury retrograde in November, but it's a topic for, I think I already made a podcast episode about that anyway. Melissa's saying Psy 2026 it is, I guess. Yeah. Do it. It's time. It's time. Just look up the astrology to make sure you're getting surgery at a good time, like when it's going to heal well. Yep, yep. All right, y'all. What time is it? It's like, all right, I've been on here for an hour. So I should probably peace out, y'all. We've already done all the cards. And who knows, maybe I'll do another live stream today on something else. I feel like I have a lot of cards I have not done a walkthrough with. Like, there's some, like, I don't think I've, okay, so I know I've definitely done a walkthrough with this. I don't think I've done it with this. And I don't think I've done it with this either, which I got as a gift from this company, Wiser, because they published my first book. And I don't know if I've done one on this or this either. I can't remember. I'm going to have to look. Or even, honestly, any of these. So I'm behind. I'm behind on my influencer walkthroughs. So I'm probably going to do one of these. We'll see. To do a walkthrough. Because, yeah, it's fun to show you guys the decks and have some different stuff for you guys to watch and just observe and chill. So yeah, I'll probably do another one today, rest my voice for a little bit, and then do another one. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. And I am going to post in the description of this YouTube video, once it goes live, some interesting workshops and classes that might be interesting to y'all. So one of them obviously is going to be the I do this every year. My New Year's Year Ahead Claim Your Magic Affirmation series. For anyone who doesn't have it, it's very good, as I know a lot of people struggle with affirmations. Even some of my longtime clients, I'm like, do your affirmations, you guys. It's really important. And so affirmations, in case you guys don't know what it is, it's basically saying something in the present moment, like as though it's true now, and it's like something that you're aspiring to do and be and feel. So it could be something as simple as like, I am very relaxed. I'm always connected to my inspiration. I am very comfortable talking to new people. I am beautiful. It can be like whatever you're struggling with in your mind that is like your internal negative self-talk. And so I've created a series of 6 different affirmation recordings, which have helped, I think, 100 at least of people since I've released them a few years ago. They're really, really good. You can listen to them nonstop because it will help you reprogram your brain and really step into a space of abundance and confidence and just self-love and all of that. And I think everything comes from that. And I've also got a tarot for the year ahead workshop. So if you don't want to get a tarot reading with me for the year ahead, that's okay. Strange life choice, but that's all right. You will be able to take this class, instant access, 3 hours at least of content teaching you how to do your own year ahead reading. And so if you don't have that yet, I will be posting the link to get that in the description of the YouTube video. So you can grab that instant access. And if you still have some time off, it can be a really fun way to spend the first few days of the new year. It will help you. Trust me, it is cheaper than a year ahead reading with me, that is for sure. And so if it is something that you want to learn how to do and you can keep the recording, like you'll be able to use it as much as you want, be able to work through it as much as you want in order to read for yourself your tarot for the year ahead. All right, so that's going to be the link in the description of this video. So grab that if you want. You will be able to get instant access when you grab it. And I am actually still offering year ahead readings until the end of January. So if that is something that you would prefer, is having me read tarot for you for this month, you can do so pretty easily. SabrinaMscott.com/readings. It's also just in the navigation of my website, SabrinaMscott.com. Links will also be in the thing on the YouTubes and on Instagram. It should be link in bio. So, okay, goodbye, Instagram. Goodbye, YouTube. Thank you all so much for spending some of your January 2nd with me. It has been a pleasure to do the tarot for the month ahead and also some stuff for 2026. I'm really excited about 2026. I think it's going to be a really good year, and hopefully I've explained why. And yeah, I'm super excited for the next few months. And of course, I'm also going to be doing in just 2 days, Sunday service is back since I'm no longer sick. So I haven't decided yet what we're talking about on Sunday, but it will be something cute and interesting, spiritually, self-care, wellness, self-improvement, healing related. We'll see. Again, I'm not too sure yet what the topic will be. Probably around this time, we will find out. So stay tuned, and hopefully I'll see you guys on Sunday service over on YouTube, and say hello on Instagram, hello on YouTube, hello on Instagram. Follow me on all the places if you're not already, and subscribe and like on the YouTube. That really does help the algorithm. And if there's any other type of content or thing that you guys want me to talk about, please let me know. I love knowing what you guys would find to be of service and of help to you in your practice, wherever you're at with that. All right, friends, much love. Goodbye on YouTube. And I'm going to say bye on Instagram in just a second. But thanks so much for being here, and I'll see you guys soon.